from Washington, D.C., here's Jerry Willis.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jerry Willis. Tonight on a special edition of the Willis Report, live from Washington, D.C. Hey, it's sorry, but nothing is changing. That's the takeaway from Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius testifying before the House Energy and Commerce Committee on the Obamacare website mess today. She's apologizing, but not rolling back on deadlines. Americans will still have to pay fines if they don't play along with the White House's tune. Here to weigh in, Doug Holtz-Eakin, president of the American Action Forum, and Republican Congressman Bill Johnson of Ohio, who was at the hearing today. Doug, I'm going to start with you. We got an apology.
Yes.
Obviously, were you satisfied with what you heard?
Well, I thought the Secretary did a good job, quite frankly. She had the right demeanor. I thought the apology rang true. And she did her job in that she answered the questions she wanted to answer, and she didn't answer the ones that they didn't want her to talk about.
There was a lot that did not get answered today.
That's right.
We'll hit on some of that. But, you know, this got testy many times. And Sebelius telling Marsha Blackburn, the Congresswoman, to hold her accountable. Even that was testy. Listen to this.
Who is in charge, Madam Secretary?
The person now in charge as an integrator is QSSI, one of our...
Who was in charge as it was being built?
Was in charge up till...
At that team, who is the individual?
Michelle Snyder is the...
Michelle Snyder is the one responsible for this debacle.
Well, excuse me, Congresswoman, Michelle Snyder is not responsible for the debacle. Hold me accountable for the debacle.
Okay.
I'm responsible.
I'm responsible. You just heard that. That from the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Congressman, if she's accountable, why does she still have the job?
Well, that's a good question. You know, Kathleen Sebelius serves at the pleasure of the President, as does the lady that she said was in charge. If that's the kind of performance they're willing to tolerate, I can tell you in my experience as a program manager, I wouldn't have had a job if I'd have performed like this.
You know, I think in the private sector, nobody understands what's going on
right.
here. I can tell you in New York, we're all mystified, but here in Washington, different rules apply. Here's my big question, and my takeaway from the whole thing today. She seemed to be saying, we're sorry, we really didn't mean it, we apologize, but at the same time, you're getting no breaks. We might have screwed up, but you're getting no delay in deadlines. You're still going to have to pay penalties. It's all on you, Doug.
That's exactly right. Remember, the President said, this is more than a website, and they believe that deeply. They want the policies, they want the whole agenda, and they believe that they can get people to the polls one way or another. They've done it before. They think about it like a political campaign, and they're going to try to get them there one way or another.
Congressman, you're an expert in IT. You've spent part of your career in IT, certainly in school in IT. You've studied it. Is Kathleen Sebelius the right person to run what is a massive e-commerce website?
Well, apparently not, because many mistakes were made. You know, I've looked through the contracts. I've seen the testing that was required to be performed under that contract. We know now that integration testing didn't even begin until 2 weeks prior to going live. They were supposed to do a full suite of testing, a part of a pre-operational readiness review back in the fourth quarter of 2012, and then a final review with test results, test analysis, and all of that in the first quarter of 2013. And I can't find anyone there that will tell me whether that has occurred or not, and I don't believe it did.
What grade do you give them? Because you're somebody who knows how well they've done.
Well, it's failed. It's absolutely an F. That's the grade they get.
All right. Well, I want you to hear some more sound. This is from Congressman Mike Rogers questioning Sebelius on this very issue.
You accepted a risk on behalf of every user of this computer that put their personal financial information at risk because you did not even have the most basic end-to-end test on security of this system. Amazon would never do this. ProFlowers would never do this. Kayak would never do this. Do you commit today, Secretary, to shut down the system and give an end-to-end security test so that these Americans can
No,
have
sir.
their...
All right, so if you heard the tail end of that, what she said is, no, we're not shutting it down. We're not shutting it down for an end-to-end test, even though that may be the only way to find out what's wrong, Doug.
this was a bullseye. I mean, this is a deep concern to the American public. The privacy of their personal information is paramount. They played politics with the schedule. They've played politics with the policy, but you can't play politics with people's privacy. That is going to hurt, and they need to worry about it.
Or your health care, in my view. I think that's why people are so upset. This policy is right up in people's grill. It's about how much health care you can get, what you're going to pay for it, what the quality of your life is really going to be like. Congressman, to you, I was amused to hear that the Federal Chief Information Officer today said what we've been through is a teachable moment. What do you make of that?
A teachable moment?
A teachable moment.
I would like to have him in my class because I'd have a few things that I would like to teach. You just don't get this far into an implementation with this many problems and think that you're going to be able to fix it. They may create a perception that it's being fixed, but I submit that it's going to cost millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars more to repair and replace this system than to simply fix it. It's badly, badly broken.
And Doug, we're still waiting on those numbers. We don't really know those numbers, how much it cost, how much of the taxpayer money we've sunk into this.
The transparency's been terrible. For an administration that publicly prides itself on transparency, you can't find out anything in this process. And I think there are two big lessons that are going to play in a long time. There's a generation of Americans who believed the president when he said that government solves problems. Government is an active force in your life, but they didn't understand government fails, and fails a lot. This is a massive failure. They're learning that lesson. They also will learn that the private sector succeeds because there's a financial incentive to make trades, make transactions. Why does the New York Stock Exchange work? That exchange works for a reason. So does the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. So does Amazon. So does eBay. That's a lesson as well.
Jerry, the biggest concern that I've got right now is what he said. You know, it's easy to spend somebody else's money when it's not coming out of your pocketbook. I mean, the American taxpayers have already paid for this system one time, and it was badly flawed. Now they're being asked to pay for it again because this new systems integrator that's supposed to be independent, QSSI, that was part of the development team and part of the independent test in the first place, is now going to be paid more to try and rescue this system. I want to know how they're going to recover the money and pay for this thing without taking more from the American taxpayer.
What are the scariest words in the English language? I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Guys, thanks for helping me out tonight. You did a great job. Thanks, Congressman Johnson. Doug will be with us after the break, but first we want to know what you think. Here's our question tonight. Do you buy Sebelius' apology?